कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में इतना सा फर्क है, एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ, मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ, मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
A very good afternoon to all the dear friends. We, the entire team of Franchise India, welcomes each one of you to our Business Opportunity over Chai webinar series. This is a digital representation of the business opportunity which we have got for each one of you. And our aim is to provide you the correct and the complete understanding about the business opportunity which we have got for you. We have invited the founder of the brand to talk about the brand, how he started this particular venture and how you can become a partner with them. Franchise India is the team of professionals who are helping day in, day out all the investors in getting the business solutions from our side. And we truly claim that no one sells more business than us. We welcome management team of Franchise India, Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am. During the course of the webinar, they'll be sharing their insights, viewpoint with each one of us so that we take a conscious decision. The business opportunity which we have got for each one of you comes from the land of Gujarat. VarieTea is the brand which we are representing today. It's a iced tea cafe brand known for its comfortable ambience and the lively environment. They have a strong presence offline as well as online. And today we have invited Mr. Rishit, who is the founder at VarieTea, to talk about his brand. But before we formally invite him and his team, Nikita, to talk about the brand, I would like to invite him to share his journey till now, what kind of the vision and mission he follows. Thank you so much, Rishit sir, for joining in today. May we request to formally start the webinar for all of us.
Hi, Archana. So thank you for inviting me. Firstly, thank you for inviting me, and thank you, Gaurav sir, and I think Sonia ma'am for inviting me for this webinar first. So yeah, so I would want to start my journey is that we are already a tea company, which is, I'm the 4th generation in it. So our family owns tea estates in Assam. We are into exports. We are also into supplying bulk teas to popular brands in India, which is Hindustan Lever, Tata Tea. So that's how VarieTea started, that we have been already giving in products and experiences to other brands. So we supply to a lot of other companies in the world as well. So now the main purpose of starting VarieTea was, initially we was looking to start it as a normal cafe. We chose Gujarat because predominantly we are Gujaratis and we are from a Gujarati family. So we start back with our roots. So our first generation entrepreneur actually was from Gujarat, and he traveled back to Kolkata, acquired estates and started and evolved the business from there. So currently what we have done is that we initially started that I agree there are a lot of other chai brands in the market, but what is different in variety for that matter would be is that what we understood that India is predominantly a tropical country, and we have worked around our flavors and our products around it, that chai is of course the need of an hour. So variety definitely has teas, chais, which is there, which is I think would be probably available in the market is sure. But iced tea is something which we focus a lot on. Today's day and age, we are looking at the tropical climate. There are a lot of juices, there are a lot of cold beverages available, but no one has really explored the iced tea market, which is technically for India, where the climate is there for the iced teas. And we've also worked closely, why we are focusing on iced tea, we've also worked with Coca-Cola for creating their honest tea product, which is currently running in the US. So as far as what iced tea flavors we have created currently in our stores in Gujarat is basically we've tried it, tested it, and now after a decade, we are looking to explore more opportunities and scale it up. So we've been actually investing time in how to create the iced tea. Now, there's a very thin line between iced tea. You would also find powdered drinks where you just dissolve your iced tea, but we also have created a special formula where the taste of tea stays, which is more refreshing, and your flavor of the drink also stays. So that is how we've come up and curated the whole iced tea based products. And of course, in the future, we are looking at getting into our bottled iced tea drinks also. This is what our variety plan would be. So initially, we are looking up to scale up the stores and then come up with our iced tea bottled products as well. I think this is just a brief about how variety is different, yet it is there in that space of tea, which is India is one of the highest tea drinking nation in the world, actually, in all the tea drinking nations. So I think this was the brief about the how variety has started and how it is different from the other products for that matter.
Welcome, Rishitji. This is very, I think this is a very enterprising journey, and you're the fourth generation entrepreneur, which speaks a volume about the legacy of the company. And I would also now request if we can have maybe a formal presentation that we can present to our investors who are there. And friends, I will also request, while Rishitji takes us through the entire business model, you can use the Q&A box down to put any questions, and we'll take these questions at the end of the presentation.
Sure. So, Ms. Nikita, can I request you to please start with the formal presentation?
As our founder has already mentioned about his journey, about the brand, I would like to start the presentation. But before that, I would also like to tell you that Variety is a tea-themed cafe. They have their successfully running 4 outlets in Gujarat, and currently they are coming up with a new development to expand its wings across India. So let's see what is the new upgradation in the brand. So as we all know that half of the world wakes up to tea every morning in India, Variety not only serves people with the exotic homegrown tea, but they are also here to educate people with the flavor that rightly suits the individual taste buds. The brand is into the tea business for decades. The idea of starting tea-themed cafe was to bring the organic flavors in the market and make people well aware about the exotic tea-based products. Variety is established to make the luxury of pure and unique exotic teas sourced right from their own tea gardens. The brand comes with a passion for tea and hospitality. The vision of this brand is to achieve excellence, offering homegrown unique tea blends that goes well with the delicious tidbits served in their own cafe. It is said that variety is the spice of life, and our the brand is the talk of the town for its exotic iced tea flavors complemented with gourmet food. The variety cafes are stealing the light among tea lovers in Gujarat across all the age groups. This place is a combination of comfort, elegance, and entertainment. Brand has a huge presence in the top cities of Gujarat state and is now looking to expand outside Gujarat. The cafe chain segment is highly growing in India, and our brand is witnessing the same growth, serving the special iced tea product in the market. This product is prepared according to the consumer's taste and preference. The growing young population, urbanization, and increasing trend of professional meetings outside the four-walled conference rooms are highly increasing the cafe business across India. Our brand offers the comfortable ambience for the professional as well as casual meetings, organizing the live concerts on special occasions to make it more special and happening for the crowd present there. There is a change in the drinking trends nowadays. People prefer the light drinks while socializing. To serve the market needs, Variety is coming up with the lounge concept, which will have a bar along with all the present offerings. Here in this concept, they will be serving tea mocktails and light alcohol like beer and wine. The millennials are sitting on the driving seat, accelerating the demand for non-carbonated beverages, increasing the trend for social drinking, and even the health-conscious population is highly preferring the iced tea than any other carbonated beverage. To serve the market needs and changing trends, Variety is offering two formats: tea-based cafe and lounge, serving light alcoholic beverages. Firstly, in the tea cafe, which will be 800 square feet format, offering the 9 different iced tea flavors, and the second one is lounge format, which will be approximately 12 to 1500 square feet, offering the light alcohol and tea-based mocktails. In addition to all the offerings which we have in the cafe. Both our formats are well positioned in the market. The cafe is more price-centric format, offering the quality-based services and comfortable ambience for social gathering. And lounge is more experience-centric format, offering the same services as offered in cafe, along with the lively environment and light alcohol. So now our brand is looking for FOFO approach. Here, the franchise will have complete ownership and the freedom to operate under the brand guidelines. We are looking for master franchise for the larger territory metro cities who will act as a development partner to support our unit franchise and provide suitable training to run daily operations. It is the own responsibility of the unit to smoothly run the business and ensure high customer satisfaction. To look at this opportunity, our ideal partners will be someone who is keen to enter the food service industry, or someone having an experience in F&B or knowledge of a running successful business. This is the brief on the investment plan based on the realistic projection. So if we look at the cafe model, in comparison to our investment, the business potential is around 98 lakhs, and our lounge format is around 1.75 CR. We will be talking this in detail during our one-on-one discussion. These are our key locations where we are looking to expand. These are the few areas where we would like to increase our presence, but we are surely open for any other cities discussion as well. We would like to bring in our expertise and experience and will provide you complete support right from the site selection, staff training, pre-launch training, supplier assistance, and the marketing guidelines. We ensure you to provide the complete handhold whenever needed. Due to the changing preferences, increasing Western culture, and the quest for constant wanting something new, our brand is well positioned and well established to serve this shift, offering variety of iced tea flavors, comfortable ambience, and lively environment. These are the faces behind our well-talked brand in the town. So to end with, I would like to say that this is the brand which is at its growing pace, and we would like you to be the part of this growth.
Thank you so much, Nikitaji. Thank you, Rishitji. And friends, I will request you can put your questions and we'll start taking these up. And just to add what Rishitji also talked about, I would say tea as a category. This is the most consumed beverage after water, and tea has a universal appeal. And this has always been a part of our life at home, work, traveling. And today, tea services also have a large constituent on the overall food services, which is close to 44% of the overall size of the food industry. And while I think most of the tea business, I would say 5 years back, had been traditionally unorganized, but we're witnessing a high speed of departure from the unorganized to the organized because of the conscious consumer today who's conscious about safety and hygiene. So we're talking about two formats, friends. So one is a cafe format, which is 800 square feet, and the other being a launch, which is 1200 square feet onwards. And franchisee on franchisee operated is the model, which comes with the unit franchise. And I understand that would be for the state of Gujarat. And master franchisees for the regions that we had seen on the presentation, which is pan-India, and the target cities have been mentioned. Overall investment is about 25 lakhs for a cafe, and 45 lakhs is what goes for the lounge format. So Rishitji, I'll take up, initially my first question to you would be, because we're talking about a master franchise and also we have discussed about the unit franchise. Are we looking at a master franchise for pan-India locations, or are we looking for master outside Gujarat at this point in time? Because we already have our outlets operating out of Gujarat. You're on mute, Rishitji.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm saying that the master franchise option is kept for a simple reason that tomorrow anyone having a cafe, say for example, cafe is the main thing when someone would have a cafe, so they would have a cluster of cafes. So I think that's where the master franchising model comes in. As far as the lounge, we would not have too many in one city. That would be, we would be restricting it to, a few in one city, depending on the, geographical locations. But as far as cafes is concerned, it is a volume of scale game. So that would be as a master franchisee, and a franchisee would want it in that fashion, that I have a cluster with me, around me. So that's something which we are looking master franchise, particularly in the cafe one, but not in the lounge one. Lounge would actually have few in a city. So I don't think that will give, one-off would be good also. A standalone can make a difference, I think.
Okay. And this master franchisee would be outside Gujarat, or within Gujarat also we can carve out cities where we're giving a city franchise to a particular partner and he takes care of the
I think
development?
we have the option to do that because, say, for example, we are not currently based out in Surat at all. Now, Surat does have a potential for 4 to 5 outlets anyways. So I think that is something which we can look at. So I think there will be cities where each city would have its own, culture of, opening more outlets, and they know best because what's happening is the cities which list down by Nikita, if you see, all of the cities are growing. I mean, there is a potential of cities growing now. So, I mean, we cannot restrict ourselves that, there are a lot of new areas opening up. Like initially, Ahmedabad, we were thinking of only one outlet. Now, Ahmedabad still has potential of 2 more outlets here. So the city is growing. So I think we cannot restrict ourselves for master franchisee for a particular city.
All right. And what would be a master franchise proposition? So is there a fee component which is fixed? And what happens on the sharing further with, the unit partners and the master franchisee? How does that work out?
See, I'll tell you, master franchisee, we've not generally worked out on a fee component there. I'll tell you, because what we have done is we wanted to look at city to city as far as master franchising is concerned. Because what happens is that, see, I mean, someone taking a master franchising for Mumbai would be different and someone taking for Surat would be different. There the potential is much more, and our main intention of our franchisees is that they should be growing first. Then of course, we are growing with them. So that's our main intention. So I think any master franchising would be case to case basis, and we would get into detailing with the city. I think we would actually get down to the city, find out that how many outlet potential is there, and then say, for example, I'll just give you a simple example. Ahmedabad ke saath Gandhinagar is connected. So that's called a master franchisee. Then Gandhinagar is a part of it. So we have to look at city to city as far as master franchising is concerned.
All right. And we would also be open to unit in case we have a good partner, coming from Gujarat. Would that also be an option which will be okay for us to move ahead with? Or we would necessarily have an area franchisee in the city to award the unit franchisee?
I didn't get your question. I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
What I'm trying to understand is, since we also have a unit and a master franchisee model in place, that if we have a prospect who's looking for a unit, for example, in Surat or city where we don't have maybe a partner, which is area franchisee, would we still be open to awarding a unit franchisee in that location?
Yes, we would. Yes, we would.
Okay, right. Rishiji, my other question which I want to pick up is primarily on the unit economics. I think Nikita, she did go through the same, and we went through that very swiftly. If we can take maybe the next 10 minutes and understanding a little bit on our investment and also on the operating expenses typically, and based on your experience of operating these outlets in Ahmedabad, I'm sure there is some intelligence that we can share with our investors. So when we talk about our investment, so to say, so larger component of that would go towards the interiors and the franchise fees. And the second component would also be on the operating cost. So we've talked about both these models, and 22 odd lakhs is the overall business, initial investment that we have talked about, with the potential to generate 98 odd lakhs. So if you could just help in understanding typically what our operating expenses are, what can be maybe a throughput of a cafe model to reach to a potential of 98 odd lakhs.
See, mainly if you're noticing, I mean, there's a 98 lakhs kept there because see, when you're talking about, that's why I've been, insisting on the point when I started my conversation also. There is a value for tea or chai. There's a chai value cannot go exceeding more than 50 rupees or something, because more than that, you cannot pay for a chai because you're already comparing it with a normal chai wala outside also. As far as iced tea is concerned, where what happens is that the cost of production is low and the value of the iced tea is much higher, which gets down around between 150 to 200 rupees, depending on the area I'm talking. So, and we also have a small and medium size in it. So we are trying to give that iced tea look and flavor. That's where the revenue increases. So the number of cups you sell and the number of iced teas you sell, that's where the revenue is coming from.
Right.
So that is the difference why the revenues are higher compared to a normal cafe.
And it's maybe, if we can help maybe our investors understand a little bit on the economics of how maybe, it works out. So what are the potential expenses and, what percentage of that you think is the ideal percentage that should be the rent component? How much of that ideally is the food cost that we allocate to
See,
it?
I'll tell you something. Our food cost is not more than 30%. That's the higher side, between 25 and 30%. I mean, because with wastage we are talking. Why? Because we are mainly talking about a drink without milk. So even if you're talking about a chai thing, your main cost gets into milk also. So we are looking at a more of a iced tea based. So that's where the milk component also goes down. Plus, our food is derived in such a manner that it is more of a, if you see, we've got three segments divided in it. So depending on the model, we have tea bites, we have paninis, and we have pizzas. Now, the situation what we have created here is that, again, all the foods, if you notice, tea bites is something, we're not talking nasta per se. So if you're actually, how variety is different with different cafes or something, what we are looking at is that a nasta, if you're configured about a samosa or a puff, again, your value decreases. So our tea bites is created in such a way that that's the value which is taken out from the customer, and it is of course filling. See, being a Gujarat centric brand, we are here. We actually, the tough part in Gujarat is that we have to give value for money. So there has to be a value which people expect out of us, of the payment which they are making. So we've been creating a portion size, everything in that fashion that it creates a value for money. Sometimes the tea bites can be consumed by two people. That is how we work as a value for money product. Secondly, as far as paninis is particularly chosen in such a way that we're just talking on upgradation level of what do I say? It is more as an upgradation level of a sandwich. So everything, if you see, whether it is a chai, of course the chai is consumed, but there is an upgradation level with the iced tea. If there is nasta, then the nasta ka upgradation is a tea bites. Again, sandwiches ka upgradation is your this thing, paninis. And we have pizzas and platters, which is on the higher segment. I don't know, sometimes we will be able to fit it in the cafe model, and sometimes we won't be able to fit it in the cafe model, because depending on the kitchen size we would have. So that is why I said we can give a standalone unit also, depending on the size of kitchen sometimes we have. So we've actually demarked our segments in such a way that when you're actually having a variety experience, so you have a variety experience, and yet you know what you're going to get at variety. That's the most important thing in the connect of a brand, that whenever you're visiting us, you know what you're going to get. That is most important, and you cannot be turned off by, I mean, I would not be comparing it with any brand, but you are expecting what is the need of an hour. Now, pizzas, again, I think is the most consumed food. I mean, according to our data, I mean, there are people who order 2 to 3 times pizzas in a week. So that is, if you're hungry, then you are having a full sort of a meal in it. That's how we've placed it at this. So this is how our menu works around this thing. Plus, we also have a segment which is more of a local variety, which we try to keep it in this thing, which we've not mentioned in the presentation, but that happens on case-to-case basis. That's mainly when you're looking out of food, if you have an exposure. So our variety menu cannot be tweeted, but then a local variety, we have an investor who's running a standalone outlet and he's facing reservation, or to that extent facing competition from the next door neighbor. Like tomorrow you open up a store, the first challenge is that someone's going to come next door soon. So that is going to happen. We cannot like close that doors also. So we have a local segment where you can just create a niche menu from our chefs and everything, which will help you out in doing that. And that can also be sold. So say, for example, Pune would have more of about a thali peat or something like that, which would have a niche in that area. If required, you're only doing a cafe. So that things we've taken on board. So as far as regions are concerned, we have still considered a regional centric sort of a menu there, because that's also in India, the challenge of any hospitality outlet is there's a region centric menu which is demanded. I think some kind of regional touch is required. And that is where I think we just step in a bit, that there is some regional touch there. So we are not, not letting go our customers also, and there is a regional touch to it. I think that's what we have worked out on the menus as far as hospitality food is concerned. So I think it's all about, I think, see, any brand, Sonia, I think anything was all about the perceivedness and what you're expecting out of the brand. When you're visiting a certain outlet, you're expecting something out of it and a certain price band to it. That's how we've placed our products in that fashion, that this is what a perceived value is.
Sure. And, understanding, the potential of the business, and we've kind of segregated between these two models as 98 lakhs, which kind of translates to about 8 odd lakhs monthly sales, which typically a cafe model can do. Now, looking at these expenses, what ideally should be your net or bottom line for an investor, considering the cost that he's putting in, the operating expenses from staff, the electricity, rental, food cost, and also royalty. I don't know if there's a royalty component which is fixed or a percentage. And Rishitji, would you want to comment?
So royalty is fixed. As far as royalty is concerned, we've kept it as not as a burden on the franchisee, and we've kept it fixed. So I know there are a lot of models available in the market which says a lot of percentage-based royalty, and also says no royalty sometimes. So there are two things I think I'll just change over there. Is one is that no royalty the brand can never sustain. I'll be very honest. If we have to give you something back, we need to do something that's a fixed, which is a nominal amount. And fixed percentage pay, the graph keeps on changing. Today rains come in, today rains don't come in. There is, we have a lot of anything or the other coming up, sudden kuch hota hai. There are seasonal things where you learn certain seasons you do very well. So that's something keeping in mind. We've kept a fix, which is considering all the costs in mind and keeping at a yearly level that this much burden is a very nominal thing, which we can do it with a franchisee, and which is helping both of us to run the show. That's it.
And what is that amount? Is that different based on the city we are going in, or that amount is fixed and we can share that with our prospects?
No, it's a fixed one. I think cafe and lounge is fixed. I think cafe, Nikita would have the exact thing. We've given her a number. So I think it's 20 or 30 and 20 and 40, which is fixed, I think.
Both these formats. So irrespective of the sale, and so one need not monitor the sale. So even if the sale is high, they would not end up.
Yeah, so if you're looking at it, if you're looking at 98 lakhs in the year, and if you're talking about 20,000, it is coming down to not more than 2.5 lakhs. So technically the brand is not taking anything from you. And if you're looking at, say, if you're looking at around about 1.75 crores, then also the brand is looking at only 40,000. So which is not much. So, I mean, we understand that even if you're earning from the lounge model where there is a soft liquor, which is beer and wines, and you would make money on that also. But we are trying to give an experience. And I think that is where we are wanting that experience to go forward.
Sure. So what I would understand, and for the interest of our audience, I will also maybe recap, friends. So this is a model which works on a fixed and also giving you some understanding on the operating expenses. Typically, when we talk about a cafe model like this, or even a lounge model, on the overall operating expenses, you would have a component of about 30-35% on the food which goes in. And there's an additional about 15% which goes towards staff salary. And there's additional 12 to 15%, which would be occupancy cost, which is your rental that goes in. And additional 10% is your utility expenses, which are there. And typically, food businesses have royalties which are anything between 6 to 8%. And if we understand the fixed amount which Rishitji is talking about is 24 or 20,000 monthly, this translates to almost 2.5, between 2.5 to 3%, which is comparatively very low when you compare with the competition. So your net margins after taking out all the expenses should be anything between 18 to 20 odd %. Is that right, Rishitji? Is that the calculation that we follow?
Right. Yeah, that's the calculation. In fact, I think sometimes we even look at the rentals to go below 12 and coming down to 9 and 10. So which can be worked out. I think post-corona, I think we can look at that rentals going down to 9% also. So I think that 3% buffer they have as well, again, not the 3-4%.
Sure. And another, thing, and maybe I'll also request if we have a menu and we can showcase the menu to our participants, one. And while we do that, couple of questions which I kind of, picked together. One, my question is on the supply chain. How do we manage the supply chain? Do we have a centralized kitchen or some proprietary products or recipes which are given to a franchise partner, or all that is procured, done locally? How does that
No,
happen?
so basically our product, as far as tea is concerned, mainly iced tea and the normal tea which we make, that is supposed to be procured by us. Rest, we sort of have a format where we standardize it locally and then get it going for them. So it is a procurement solution. So it's not that, again, there is, so I mean, what I would say is that in variety, we would not have any hidden things of anything. Only the iced tea recipe and a normal tea recipe, which we have standardized. That even for the chai we standardize is because you're going to take a premium price for the chai. So we need to give that as a quality, and that's what we are procuring. Apart from that, we have standardized it in such a way that we look at particular brands which are available nationally, and that's we have a prototype of that. So we don't insist on that, because what happens is in that even for the nationalized brands, you sometimes get a discount or something which you can procure locally. But we focus on the brands to be used, so that the quality of the product, because we've tasted around 50 brands, and there we choose on the brands to take from a national level. So I think not any brand would work.
Okay. And how about the staff training and, the recruitment of the staff? Is that something which the company would help a prospective partner to set that up? And does the training happen only at the center of the franchise, or the staff is also trained?
No, so what happens is that whenever any franchise is locked, what we do is there's a training. So we have one outlet which is particularly only training the staff there. So we actually training, grooming, everything is required there. So our onboard person would actually look at only training, talking of the person, and we train that, and then we put it on the main outlet. That's how we work. So
And how,
once there is a, sorry.
sorry,
So
go ahead.
once the franchise is locked, what we do is then we, while there is an interior and other works going on, we have a staff being paid 1 month salary on our behalf, and then we actually train them at our outlet and then send it across to the franchisee outlet.
And typically, how much staff is required at the outlet?
So I think there is a cafe model. There is I think the number of people are given. There are 5 to 7, and there would be more 8 to 10 people at the lounge model. That's it.
Right. And that also includes your center or the outlet manager at the lounge. And
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll also take a moment, friends, I like to show one of the pictures. And Rishiji, I came across this picture on your website, and I understand this is one of your outlets operating in Ahmedabad. So which particular model is this? How big is this? Because I think the kind of pictures I see, it looks very expansive. There's a big layout that we see.
This is actually, see, I'll tell you, our core focus is always, working between the 9% of the rentals, which is between 8 and 9%. That's the thumb rule. That
right.
Finding a location is always, which we take a lot of time in. I'll be very honest. I mean,
Sure.
if the company is basically, focusing and all is on the location, it's not necessary that you always have to pay high for the locations. I'll be very honest with you. So now this is actually a terrace where the terrace is not covered. If you see, the terrace is not covered. So our interior team takes the effort of not covering it yet. See, actually the space inside is not more than 700 square feet, but we actually got the terrace, and that's how we planned it. So this space is not more than 700 square feet. So we've planned it in that fashion that you get, so in typically, say for example, in Mumbai or Pune, you would get the Otla out. So you get more spacing. So the selection of our outlet is very particular, which we really take time to lock it, because the location is a very priority which we look at.
Sure. And now considering because we have sit down format, and food becomes a very important component when it comes to consumption, and it is clubbed with tea. And if you look at between beverages and the food consumption, and if we have to allocate maybe a percentage of consumption between beverages and food, how much of food consumption in the overall revenue would an outlet?
See, I'll tell you honestly, here the situation here is being a Gujarat, they are more focused on food and beverages, less beverages and more food. But we've been able to put the chord correctly. Initially, we were looking at 65% of food and 35% of beverage. But in our sales, we are now achieving around 65% of beverages and 35 to 40% of food. So that is how it took us time to get there, but we've tried of achieved it. So that's what it is.
Sure. And I would also like to maybe, discuss if you're looking at maybe Gujarat, for a unit, while we have talked about locations outside Gujarat also for an area franchisee. But, if you look at the immediate markets within Gujarat, which would be the markets, you think you would need to create maybe a bigger cluster? Say for that matter, Ahmedabad, you mentioned, you grew from maybe one outlet and you added more outlets because the potential demand in the city was higher. So would you think, or do you think there is more potential in the city itself to add more within Ahmedabad? One, and second, which are the other priority cities in Ahmedabad, outside Ahmedabad, where you think there could be a great potential?
I think we already see that, if you're looking at a logistics level, it is very important that, all the supply from food to staffing is very important. So I think we would look at as an Anand Vidyanagar as one outlet here. We look at Surat as for that one outlet there. And I think sometimes I would not say tier 3 cities, but like cities connected, like would be Vapi or something, which would again have an industrial belt and which is a need of an hour for cafes. So we would like to go on that. I'm not saying that Rajkot does not have a potential or Jamnagar does not have a potential, but I think looking in this belt would be a faster format and the supply chain would be handled well. We are not saying that we do not want Rajkot, but then this is how we look at it in Gujarat right currently.
Okay, so pretty much you're saying, these all locations should be all good locations, especially when we talk about Gujarat as a territory. Helpful. And I will also pick, some questions on.
So I'll just stop you. I'm sorry, I'll just interrupt you here. In Rajkot, we do not have a problem, but what we understand is that Rajkot is shut between 12 and 3. And, generally the cafe picks up from 2, 3 onwards. So, your start then happens at 4. And then we are restricted to again 10. So, these are all small things where we are actually, it's all operational related, but then these are all small things which make a lot of difference to your revenue, your expenses. So it's not just the revenue which makes a difference, but even the, say for example, in Mumbai, if you're looking at a lounger model, it can start from 6 a.m. to 11, 12. I mean, of course, today with the restrictions, I'm not talking, but it would look at 6 to 12. So then you have a 3-shift model, but then you also cater to the breakfast in the morning and then, take it forward with the lunch. So I think certain places we need to tweak the timings and the things. So then that's our main core. Actually, we look at location and, setting up that outlet, which is more important in that model.
Now, when we talk about ROI and we shared some projections, which is anything between 18 to 24 odd months. And we also understand, it takes time for any outlet to reach that optimum level of business it can generate. So in your own experience, how long does it take, for an outlet to reach that optimum of say 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs monthly kind of a business is one question, Rishitji. And I will also like to touch upon if we are also doing deliveries as a part of this model. While I understand because we're providing experience to the consumer which is coming in and we have a sit down format, but some component of our business might still come from online deliveries. So these two things, if you can.
I will just give you on the feedback, Sonia. What our experience clearly says that most of the investors or most of the people who are in the cafe business and who have invested in the cafe business of any segment for that matter, what happens is that they understand the capex, which is always there. They also understand the opex, which is the working capital, which we keep as a buffer. Now, the main core of the matter in the whole business is your opex and capex is one part, but there is a launch which we suggest to get to your numbers faster. So there's a launch where you're actually inviting people, making them the experience and then bringing them over. That's the most key to achieving your numbers. We've written 18 to 20 months, but that launch helps you bring it faster. When you give them an experience, when you call, see, the whole idea of any investor would be that we looked at them inviting 100 people, 200 people during the course of the launch. So they are already making it with the word of mouth publicity rather than spending too much on advertisements. Okay, advertisement one-off or two-off is required. That is for the company to do it. But then this is an ongoing thing which you need to be attached or, associated with the brand. That helps you get the numbers faster, I think, because what most of the people do, they calculate the OPEX and then just leave it on the side. But that's not the only thing. I think local PRing is the most important thing which brings you more business. I'll be very honest with that. And that's where we focus on the launch, which is most important. But launch is supposed to be optional, I agree. But that's how we take the graph forward, because the more the launch is faster, and then they actually pull in more people because your word of mouth starts faster.
Absolutely, and this is what we also recommend every franchise partner, because a lot of opinion makers come in these launches, and this helps in spreading a faster word. At the same time, I would also emphasize regular marketing, which maybe a prospective partner needs to do on a monthly basis. And a lot of partners shy away from making that investment every month. And this is a business which requires, whatever your revenue total, you need to allocate at least 2% of that revenue on the marketing within that neighborhood which is given to you. And one more question, Rishitji, that I like to pick up is also on the.
So I'll just stop you here. Sorry, I'll take the question. I'll just stop you here. So if you see our capex is a small, we want you to spend more on OPEX, not on capex. The 22 lakhs, I mean, you can get people giving you 50 lakhs ka capex, but that's not what we want. We want that you spend a bit on OPEX and you will be making more money, definitely. It is connected with the sales. I'll be very honest. That helps you achieving faster, ROI. That's what we are aiming at in the end.
And what about a term of the agreement that we look at? And do we have additional fee when the term of the agreement expires and we renew post that term?
We would not have an additional fee as of now. We are not looking at an additional fee. I think where we've kept that when the term finishes, we want to actually review the complete outlet with the complete numbers and then come up with an agreement with it. Say, for example, then if there is requirement of the company, there is like, if you want to exit, so there is sometimes what happens is people don't have an exit policy. So our term of agreement is not just talking about, that term phase. You might want to exit the business. So there is an option of the company buying it. There's an option of the company wanting you to continue with it. Supposedly the royalties look low. You want to give it as a royalty short. You want to decrease the royalty, increase the royalty, depending on the market situation. So, and take it into consideration, what is the P&L actually happened? So that assessment is more important more than the renewal, I feel.
Sure. That's helpful to understand. I don't know if we covered that question on our delivery structure. Do we have that, or are we doing only in-house dining?
No, we have the delivery and we have kept it in the financials as well. There's a delivery component to it as well.
And what percentage would that form of the overall business from the
20% is something which delivery would take care.
Great. Very helpful, Rishitji. And I will also request friends, whatever questions, I think there were some questions which I did see, and I understand they have been answered. These were on the investment markets, ROI, and also the throughput of the business. We have tried and covered and tried and explained that to whatever extent we could. And considering the paucity of time, I will request if all of you can also reach on the hotline number of Franchiseindia. We'll help you connect with Mr. Rishit for further discussions. And we also have a discovery day where we can bring you for one-to-one call or maybe a meeting, and especially our friends from Ahmedabad, Gujarat, who can even maybe go visit the outlet, experience the outlet of VarieTea. Would actually help you in understanding what they're offering to their end consumer, and maybe do a tour of 2 to 3 hours at the outlet is what I recommend every prospective partner who wants to invest in a business. So Rishitji, before we close, I will also request if you wish to say maybe a final message to our investors who are listening both live as well as on the webinar today, any message that you want to pass on to them.
Message, I think I'm not sure what message I would pass on to them, but yeah, as what our name says, there is definitely variety. so in the model, and we have explored more over the tea cultures of the world. So that is what all about variety is. So I think we would try to keep it, and a punchline is very clear cut. It's very simple: chai, masti, and more. I think we'll keep it in a close note as a chai, masti, and more.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us. And I'll also thank all our participants who came on the webinar to understand the business model. And Rishiji will come back to you and fix one-to-one meetings with our interested partners. And friends, one thing I would like to add, as a closing remark, we are talking about a food business, and this requires you to be on the driving seat. You need to own and operate the business yourself. The company can give you technical know-how, operations, training, all that can be given by the company, but you as a partner, a business partner and a franchise partner need to be on the driving seat of driving the business yourself. So the onus of success would lie completely with you, while the brand helps you with entire information and helping you set up both before an outlet at the time of launch and even afterwards. But you need to be hands-on when we talk about food. It is not a passive investment. It can generate business and efficiencies only with your own personal involvement. And Archana, can I request you now to please take it over for your final closing remarks?
Sure. So thank you so much, Rishi sir. Thank you so much, Nikita, for joining in today. Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. We have kept 18th of August as our discovery day. So all the dear friends, please do reach out to us at our business hotline number to book your slot for 18th of August, where we are organizing your one-to-one interaction with Nishchidi as well as his team. I'll just share my screen for you. Just allow me 1 minute. You can reach out to us at our business hotline number, which is 97176-83838. We request you to please book your slot with us to have one-to-one interaction with him on the day of the discovery. You can also join to us at different social handles. We are available at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as Twitter. You can also join Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their LinkedIn IDs. Information as well as link we have shared on the screen. And today we wish you to join us for our Patna show under Bharat Franchise Show. Bharat Franchise Show is the Asia's largest and the biggest franchise show ever organized by any of the franchise company, where we invite everyday top brands, founders, directors. Today we have invited the directors as well as founders from top 5 companies. They will come showcase their business ideas as well as plan for each one of you. So please do registration, either reaching out to us at our business hotline number, or you can also visit us at the Facebook page where we have shared the registration link. And tomorrow under business opportunity with chai, we are inviting you brand McIntosh, again a brand from Gujarat, where you can start your business as low as in 12 lakh rupees. So please do registration for tomorrow's webinar also. Thank you once again for joining in today. Have a very safe day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, Rishiji.
Thank you so much.